Now, over 14,000 people were recorded crossing the Beitbridge Border post on Saturday. Now, the border between Zimbabwe and South Africa is one of the busiest in the country. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is monitoring those developments and joins us now live with the details on the ground. Nqobile, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. I would imagine a lot of activity there, queues and some frustrations. What's happening on the ground?
Definitely. In fact, if you coming this side, you've got about 7 kilometers of just trucks alone just going to the border, and that's how long the distance is just for you to wait to get to the border. But not that alone. I want to show you behind me. So what you see here, Mpo, is cars that are still stuck. This is about halfway to the border, about 3 kilometers away or so, just to get to the border. Now, it does look like it's a congestion, but what it is as well is that what you see, the cars where they are parked at this very moment, is that they are actually using oncoming traffic. So this is the north where the oncoming traffic is supposed to pass, but you are seeing about 4 lanes of cars already using every single lane to ensure that they're able to get out. So on your right hand side, you'll notice that there's a car looking this direction. That car is supposed to drive this way, but there's no way of driving this side. And of course, officials keep trying to figure out how to sort out this traffic congestion. So I want to bring in some of the people that have been here for quite long. And I mean, I've seen you guys resting a little bit. How long have you guys been waiting here for?
Hey, for me, I just arrived here around 5 a.m. I'm from Cape Town, and it's very hectic. We did travel safe, but when you arrive here at the border, it's too busy. Congestion, everything is, so you can see the holiday is very tough. It's not easy.
And you're going home, I imagine?
Yeah, for me it's very difficult because I have to go there to put my mother's stone, but now I can't because I was supposed to do it tomorrow. But because of this I can't do it. I have to move away the dates.
So in this case, I mean, I can imagine that you probably travel every year on festive season. Is this more than what you've seen in the past?
Yeah, this is too much. This is too much. This is too much because we arrived here 5 a.m. but not yet arrived at the border. We are still on the way going. So this is too much.
And you, Baba, how's your experience been? Where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Nqobile. I'm going to Harare. We are together with my brother. We arrive around 5 a.m. and the queue is very too long. I don't know, maybe the traffic police must control the line because as you see, it's now one way up to the border. So those cars from the border cannot having a way to come here. Maybe if the traffic police can control, maybe it's gonna be better.
And Baba, were you in a bus, in your own car? Because we can see you standing on the side. You're probably tired of being in one.
I'm in a bus. I decided just to come out because it's too hot now. And also we are hungry. No shops here.
And you also going home, I can imagine. What are you expecting to see when you get home?
Actually, I'm so disappointed because I was planning a surprise to my family to say tomorrow we are going to enjoy Christmas together, but here I am, we are stuck in the traffic, you know. Yes.
And what time did you arrive here?
We arrived at 5 a.m. That's the time that we arrived, and as you can see, we are still here stacking, and we don't even know what time are we going to get to the border because we are still having 8 hours to the border, and it's going to take us a long time to get there.
And when you get to the border, obviously you have to produce your passport and so on and get the process going. How long does that usually take?
Normally, when I'm talking of South African side, it's going to take a long. Because normally it can take, because we're communicating with the people that left yesterday, they are still at the queue waiting to stamp their passport. So to us, it's going to be worse. It might be take for the whole day or might reach to tomorrow, waiting to stamp our passport.
Right.
The process is going to be very long for us and going to be frustrated.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us. And of course, you can just see that long line. When we were here a little earlier, Paul, which was yesterday, we noticed that there was quite a number that the border was talking about, that they were saying that it's about over 14,000 that they had processed just Saturday alone. And of course, they were talking about the fact that also on the Zimbabwean side, you will appreciate that this border separates, of course, South Africa and Zimbabwe. So before they are processed in South Africa, as they get out and they go onto the Zimbabwe border. But in Zimbabwe side, they were saying that there's a lot of, also that side, there's a lot of people that had not been processed, and obviously they had to slow down their processes this side to ensure that that process takes place on the other side. This is oncoming traffic, Paul. Oncoming traffic south of the border. People are supposed to drive this side, but there's literally no way for anyone to drive in any other way. People are just stuck 3 kilometers away from the border, and probably about 7 kilometers or so of just trucks that are just solid there. But also, you must keep in mind that some of these buses that you see that are here also still needs to return to Johannesburg, some of them. So they still need to make a stop and then come back to Johannesburg. But that's not obviously happening because of the fact that there's so much congestion. What you see in front of us is traffic that's also trying to control what's taking place. Just explaining to the gentleman here that he needs to also go back. Those are some of the cars that are trying to come out of the border, but unfortunately that's not taking place at this very moment. So traffic also trying to control this congestion that is taking so long. We're hearing from the gentleman we spoke to that some people have been here since yesterday, and it continues so for some who have been here from 5 a.m. in the morning. Let's see if we can get some of the people here to speak to us perhaps and just tell us how long they've been waiting here. Let's just ask Sanbonani. Send me
more than 2 hours.
More than 2 hours?
Yes.
Where are you headed to?
I'm heading to Zimbabwe, Pepe. Yeah, so it's tough. It's hot here, as you see. So I don't know what time I'm going to leave here.
And I see that you're outside of a vehicle, of course. What are you traveling in your own car, in a bus?
No, we're in a bus. Our bus is just behind there.
And where's your bus coming from?
We're coming from Joburg.
And tell me, in the past, have you experienced such congestion?
Yeah. I think for the past 3-4 years, it's been the same like this. It's only one Easter that I passed through here when it was well organized. Because that time they were stamping passport for buses in Messina. Then from Messina, all the buses were just going right through to Zimbabwe. But now, I don't know why they changed that system. But by that time, it was a good system that they were working on. Yeah.
But there's also an operation that we passed just on the way that is supposed to help with the fingerprints and so on. Did they stop you guys?
No, they didn't stop us. I think they were stopping cars. Small cars maybe. I didn't see trucks, but I only saw small cars stopping in combis, like the Malaichas. Yeah.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, Paul, that's what's happening on the ground here in Beitbridge. Quite long lines, people frustrated. Of course, they've been standing here, standing still for at least 2 hours. The gentleman, that's what he's talking about. But there are various operations in Limpopo that are taking place to try and alleviate this traffic. Just further down, we saw even yesterday we were speaking to the operations that side, and they were telling us that they're trying to process some of the people before getting here so that they at least alleviate some of the work that needs to be done at the border. But like the gentleman is saying, some cars are stopped, some others are not stopped, and they've just had to wait here for quite a long time.
Waiting for as much as 8 hours. That really speaks to the level of frustrations that could be building up, but some seemingly more patient and accepting of the situation, saying that they have seen it before in past years. That in itself really just reflecting the nature of that border post. In terms of law enforcement and traffic officials on the ground, what have you observed? Because just as you and I were speaking, behind you, a gentleman which looked like was in JMPD clothing, uniform, walked right past you. Is there a sense of the officials really just monitoring the entire process to ensure that it does remain calm and orderly to some extent?
There is some tries, Mpo. In fact, when we saw some of those officials, and I'm going to go towards one as well, there is a try. You can see that they're trying to work on that, but it's far beyond them really at this point. Like I said, these are 2 lanes with 2 going south and 2 going north. And what we're finding is that the traffic is going south, but we're finding that the traffic on the south is already taking the space that is coming to the north, which is oncoming traffic. Earlier on, we had seen some of the traffic cops just sort of trying to push people out and telling them to go back into the line at the end of the line. That worked for a little bit, but the moment they pass that area specifically, it starts all over again. So I'm going to show you some of those cars that they're using. You can see some of the cars that they're here with, some of the taxis that are still trying to come this way. These are some of the traffic cops, and it's really getting frustrating for quite a lot of people, but you can see them as well. They're still trying to do something, even though it gets tiring over time. Some use vehicles to try and clear the way, but doesn't look like it's helping a lot. As you can see them there, it's not much you can do. Quite a lot of people don't listen here. They just continue to do as they please. And in fact, I want to show you just the traffic that is currently behind us. That's what is currently behind us in Po, and it continues so as we are here at Beitbridge.
Very well, let's leave it there for now. Nqobile, Madlala giving us a sense of the frustrations and the long queues at the Beitbridge Border post, with the officials really trying to control to some extent the traffic there, and a lot of frustrations with those who were hoping to reach Zimbabwe before Christmas, waiting up to as long as 8 hours in that queue, and still no movement. We will continue to keep track of that border post with our reporter on the ground.